All right, guys, I'm back here at the shop. Well, I'm still here at the shop. I just fixed this entry step on this 2005 Jayco Greyhawk. Now, the owner had another concern, and that was that their roof AC wasn't working. Now, unfortunately, I already did troubleshoot it, but I'll take you through what's going on. So this one is the Carrier RV roof AC. Very nice AC unit. Almost never had to fix a single one of them, but ironically, this one was bad. Their complaint was that when they'd turn it on, they could hear the compressor running, but the fan wasn't turning. Basic AC troubleshooting told me possibly the capacitor was bad. So I put in a test capacitor because the other one did look pretty bad. And we'll go down, we'll turn this on, we'll watch it work. But before we do that, I do want to point out why we're doing what we're going to end up doing. Might be hard to appreciate the plastic on this thing is completely cracking and falling apart. So I don't feel like this is worth saving, even if we got it working. I have another video out where we changed out a Carrier AC for an Atwood Command AC unit. And it's not that these AC units, these Carrier AC units are really actually pretty good AC units. They just discontinued them. I think, if I remember correctly, about 2008-ish, seems about right to me. So it doesn't really make too much sense to fix this one, cobble it together just so that in a year and a half it can be changed out again because the plastic finally lets go. But also, check out the sound. Kind of a horrible grinding sound. And Carriers are actually pretty quiet units, but it's not the fan motor itself. There's no vibration or sound coming from it. It's all coming from the compressor. But oops. It's absolutely vital in Arizona that we have a reliable AC unit. We're going to take that one off. We're going to put a new one on. Now, the other problem with the Carrier AC unit is this. This is the thermostat. Well, it's a remote for it. The temperature sensor is going to be right there. So there's no wired thermostat on the wall. Normally this just hangs on the wall right there. So because this AC is ducted, we do want to put a thermostat in too. So we'll have to put a wired thermostat in. But also because this is a 2005, this is 2022. We don't really need to keep the 17-year-old controller right here, so we have to put a whole new Plenum in, control board, wire up the thermostat, and not just do an AC on the top like you would if it was a Coleman or a Dometic AC unit. So we have to put a whole new system on this from the thermostat, wiring, controller, Plenum, and AC unit. And because I've already installed an Atwood Command AC unit, let's go ahead and do this one. There's a Furrion Chill, and this is a 15.5K BTU AC unit. Now, this is not a sponsored video whatsoever. My customer's paying for this. I've already paid for this. They'll have to pay me back. I've been pretty impressed with the Furrion units. They have a pretty good support structure to them too. Like the Carrier, the Atwood, I've never had to fix a Furrion unit. So that's one reason why I'm going with this. I've had brand new Colemans and brand new Dometic AC units where the fan blower motors seem to go bad. The controllers burn out pretty fast, and I don't want to deal with that because I'm going to be responsible for it. But more importantly, there still is a shortage issue. These were available. The whole kit to install it was available. Coleman, I couldn't get all the parts locally, and Dometic. As long as they have that capacitance touch, that 3-button capacitance touch single zone thermostat, like this one here, it's very difficult for me to ever recommend putting one of those in. So Furrion is the way we're going to go, even though Atwood probably would be a good choice too. So I have all the parts here. I'll get all the part numbers to you guys. But first things first, let's go ahead and get the old unit off. And then because I can very easily, I took the mattress off. I won't be damaging their mattress. This part's pretty much just going to be disassemble. A couple of screws, just 4 screws. So this is the controller for it. There were membrane switches right there to push the button without the thermostat, but we don't need that anymore. This goes up to the top unit right there. All right, so now that's disconnected. All right, so the 110 is not connected, so these are not powered up yet. So just go ahead and disconnect that. Hey, looking good. It does look like there's probably another issue right there. That's some corrosion falling on there. From this wiring here. Huh. Interesting. Told you it was 1/2 inch. Don't feel like I do. So there is 12 volt here. That's going to be from the furnace and to the furnace. All right, so it's 12 volt, and then the blue wires are power from the furnace back to the furnace, if you needed to know. Naturally, there's a free switch I forgot about. Right there. Alright, so now this AC unit is free. Halfway there, right? So that was the easier part. Now before I get on the roof, change out the unit, and start building the plenum right here, I have to decide where I'm going to put the thermostat. Because this is a retrofit, I'm going to be limited on where I can put it. I mean, it'd be nice to put it on the wall like right about there, but even though the remote was right there, that's not really the thermostat. The temperature, the sending unit was at the AC unit itself at the return air. So that was kind of the best place to put one. Now, you should never put a thermostat on an exterior wall, next to an entry door or a window, or even next to an exterior wall. Even right here would be a bad location. I would like it to be right about here in the hallway, but I'll have to figure out how I want to run some wires. So the first thing I'm going to do is start exploring by taking off this vent right there to see what kind of access I get to the attic. Hopefully, if it's like this right here, where it's just got the metal framing with a hollow space with foam in between, I might be able to run the wire. Otherwise, I can run it through the vents itself. It'll be hollow right there. But let me figure out how I want to run this first. I'm going to take some stuff apart and we'll figure it out. Because there's really no reason to do this part first if I don't have the wiring ran or know where I'm going to put the thermostat, because it's going to have to hook up there anyways. My first RV service manager, when they hired me, they told me what they're looking for is installations that look like the factory did it. So I'm going to try to keep to Roger asked me to do all those years ago when he hired me the first time. I'm going to try to pull this wall right here. I think there is space. I should be able to run through the styrofoam, through the header of this wall right here, and I can pull this paneling back, drill a hole, and it should be hollow right, and it should be pretty hollow, so I should be able to pull the wiring down and put the thermostat right about there, where it'd be a comfortable in between. I get to go to room temperature, so let me do that. So normally, you can see this is stapled on right there, so that means you should be able to pry it out pretty easily. And because I'm at my shop, I have a staple gun, so I can put all this back together with. So that's just 1/8 inch wall paneling, and then the plastic trim just wraps around the edge, and when you put a staple through that side, it'll go through this other flange right there. So it comes off fairly easily. We can see the vent for one of the tanks is right there, but there's a header I was talking about. So now I just need to try to fish a wire through the ceiling here and meet it up here. Think I can do it? It seems simple. It's only like 3 feet. How difficult could it be? So basically all I'm trying to do is run 4 wires in the ceiling right here, so I don't have some hackneyed looking thing with wiring on the ceiling and looking all gross. So I'm going to put a couple holes right here where the lights will be, so I can fish some wires through there. And another one right here. Okay, I'll try to explain what I'm doing here. Got my hole, maybe you see the foam in the ceiling. Got my inspection hole right there, and it's always better to be lucky than good, but you can see the cable run right in there within the foam. So I just have to get from this point to that point, because I can get from here to there really easily through the cable run. So I just have a steel wire that I pulled off of a fish tape. I'm just kind of use it as a drill bit. Ooh. Nice. So because it's a nice I guess it's polystyrene, it's not styrofoam, whatever. So I just have the bent over fish tape end. It's fairly blunt, so it can only really damage styrofoam or polystyrene, I don't care. So now I do have a way to get the wires from the plenum all the way through the roof down to here. So let me just pull those. And as luck would have it, I think, yeah, check this out. All I need is 4 wires, and I have my flat 4 trailer wiring harness. Perfect. Oh, gloves and tape do not work well together. How lucky we're gonna be. Pretty lucky. Perfect. Now I just need to fish it from the plenum here over to that hole. It's gonna work. Okay, with that wire ran, now I need to get the AC unit on the roof. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a forklift at my shop here. And also, unfortunately, the way I parked this, I can't get my truck back there. So let me rearrange this real fast. And I'll try to show you how I do it without a forklift. Like a glove. So now before we swap this out, there's another reason why I chose the Furrion roof AC. And on some level, that may not be the best reason to choose it, but personally, I find the Furrion AC to be pretty. The unit is efficient, it works well, but appearance is kind of important when it comes to these. Like a Penguin from Dometic is a low profile, so it doesn't look too bad. But the full-size Coleman and Brisk Airs from Penguin, and even the Atwood Command ones that look just like a Coleman, they just seem lackluster. They don't add a lot of intrigue or interest to an RV. But as an RV is a pretty substantial investment, and it's still a vehicle that's going to be on display, I do appreciate when a manufacturer can allow form to follow function, and you have a nice looking AC unit sticking on the top of your roof that looks modern and attractive, even with the two-tone on it. But now, your experience and comfort might vary on what you're willing to do, but I have found this works pretty well. This AC weighs about 84 pounds or 38 kilograms. So if you don't have a forklift, I have found this method to work pretty well for me. I'm right-handed, so I want to make sure I have room on the right-hand side right there. I will usually grab a pair of gloves and a ratchet strap. But I've also done this without my truck with the ladder on the ground. It can be done. I'll usually get rid of my glasses, my keys, anything in my pocket, maybe in my wallet. I'm gonna hold up on stuff. This part right here is kind of important if you have a membrane roof. It's still good on a fiberglass roof or a metal roof. You don't scrape it up, but we don't want to tear the roof. So these things have a pretty good grabby hold right there. I'll just hoist it up on my back like that. And it's done. I can test capacitor back. This open. I'll put a ratchet strap through there. And I'll just send it down the ladder. And the good news, it's already in the back of my truck, so I don't have to load it up in the truck to put it in the garbage. So I don't have to bring it off the ground and put it in the truck. It's already in the truck, and I can get rid of it that way. If you have a forklift or a scissor lift, or a second person, that's the way to do this. Going up a ladder with an AC on your back may not be the best idea. Kind of looks like might have been leaking right about there and there. Didn't feel loose to me, but that didn't do the inspection. So this is my all-purpose foaming glass cleaner. I found it to be a pretty decent detergent. It does not damage membranes or fabric or anything. Might as well go ahead and clean this off as best as I can. Kind of weird. Factory cut the membrane too short there, but not short enough here. I also don't like they put staples in the roof right there and there. That's a ceiling surface. Why would you put staples there? And this is a 05 Jayco, so it predates the sale to Thor, so that's Jayco quality, I guess. Well, I can't say that I'm a fan of these staples. They could potentially damage my foam gasket on the AC, so there's no reason to leave them in there. Alright, so those are out. Go ahead and scrub this one more time. It's just a soft bristle. I even have this extra flap there. There's texture on it, and this is a felt back or fleece backed TPO, so it's not a rubber roof. It is a membrane roof, but this is TPO with a felt or fleece backing on it. That's why it has fiber on it. Harder roofs to replace because that felt doesn't like to come off. It does make it very durable, so it doesn't tear so easily. All right, and so we're just going to put the new AC down right here. The new AC has a gasket, a foam gasket that's going to compress right there. We'll take a look at that. So right here is that foam gasket. It's a very high density, strong gasket. Whenever you see me on a roof doing a roof inspection, and I kind of just lean against the AC to see if it's loose, I'm making sure that the bolts that clamp this down to compress this seal aren't loose. So that's the only thing that's actually sealing the AC to the roof. But all I'm going to try to do is line this up as best I can in the opening down here. If you have somebody down there, it'll help. Otherwise, I'm just getting in the general vicinity, then I'll line it up on the inside. Yeah, that's a sexy looking AC. Very aggressive angles and design to it. Updates the RV a lot too. So I just need to go ahead and center it in the opening so the foam is basically on the edge of the opening itself. Good. Alright, so you can see the foam seal right there is pretty much even with the opening all the way around. So we are centered. So the next step is going to be the plenum. It'll have the clamp ring on it. And the one I got is just the standard distribution box without the LED light. I'm gonna regret that decision now. It has a diverter, so it'll be good there. Comes with instructions for the AC unit. I also think it's a pretty sexy roof or AC plenum too. All right, so it's actually already labeled. This way front, pretty simple. That's nice, very nice. Now, like I was saying, this AC is ducted, so it has vents all the way to the front and the back. So it's not just going to be dumping air right out the plenum here. So there is this gap right there that I'm gonna have to redirect the air coming out from the blower and separate it from the return air, and to force it to go through the ducts over here on the other side. Those are channels that are routed into the foam underneath that ceiling panel, and they go the full length all the way down to the front. So what I'm gonna have to do is they give a diverter right here. Have to make sure this is the right distance. If that needs to be taller, that's what this guy's gonna be for, to raise the top of it. And then there's this cool insulation seal to stick it all together. But that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the 110 wiring from this side over to this side, because that I don't want to run it and clamp it up against the air dam. And then don't forget, I still have the controller that has to be put in. And the nice thing is it does actually tell you step by step what to do, so you don't have to take my instructions for it. This will work really well. All right, I was able to reroute the wire over there to come out here, so I have to pinch it. It's coming across the top there. But what I don't like is this gap right there against the ductwork. You can kind of see the channel where that ductwork is. Get all the foam out of there. And if you look over this way, between the ductwork right there and the foam, there's a gap. Even a gap on top of that ductwork. So I want to try to keep air from not going into the ductwork and going into the roof itself. So before I put that clamp ring on, I'm gonna have to seal up all those openings pretty well to try to give this roof a fair chance of cooling in the Arizona heat. Usually on an RV, I'd probably just be using some aluminum duct tape to seal off the plenum right there, but because this is all just foam, tape's not gonna stick that very well, and I don't trust it just to stick to the aluminum very well. But what I'm going to use is just going to be this Loctite window and door spray foam, basically. Window and door means it won't expand too much and it won't cause too many problems, because once I put that plenum, that clamp ring on right here, I won't have access to any of this anymore. Now, Loctite isn't a sponsor, but I do like that stuff better than the great stuff, just because it seems to set up a lot faster. And if you touch it and pop it, unlike the great stuff that just completely deflates and turns into like a gross mess, this Loctite doesn't seem to do that. So I feel pretty good about that. It's all sealed off. Keeping air from getting into the attic is a very important part of making sure that the AC is actually cooling properly. We don't want to cool the air and then just dump that cold air back into the attic. It's not doing it any good. We want to make sure it's drawing air from the living area, going through the coils and coming back through and cooling it all and not just getting lost. The hardware comes with little push pins right here, like little body pins. They're plastic. You just kind of attach that divider right into it. And there's 3 of them. And the bolts themselves are just going to be 3/8 hex-headed screws, or hex-headed bolts. Alright, so we're just going to be compressing the AC down and making it tight on that foam gasket until we get to the compression point, which is this tab right there. It's kind of being used as a gauge. You can kind of see it all the way around. So the last thing I need to do is make sure that there's not a gap here. Now they already gave us some self-adhesive foam right here. So what I have to do is pull this off. The spacer right here. So now we just have to put this into place to make sure that we're filling whatever gap is right there. And there's already lines on there if you need to cut it. It's already pre-scored. But it doesn't look like I need to score it. It's really important that we keep the air on this side from mixing with the air on this side. We don't want to draw this cold air back into the evaporator because we can super chill it and your evaporator can freeze up. We don't want to not cool the air and have it just be blown straight from here back out again and not actually, and then just bypass the evaporator. So this little diverter is really important. You also get a roll of self-adhesive foam. I'm going to put it right back on here because this will get cold. We don't want condensation to develop on that either because the condensation will come off on the evaporator. There's always something you have to think about. Now of course this is way too long, so I don't need it that long, so I'll trim it down a little bit. So right here we have the single zone premium wall thermostat for Furrion. I don't know what the difference between premium and standard is. There's probably more buttons, but there's a part number for it. This is a slick little thermostat. Looks like a safe combination, I guess. But there's no holes or anything I have to cover up, so this is nice, fresh install. Here's the control box right here, and it's probably gonna be labeled for me. 2-wall thermostat. We need a ground, positive, B, and A. All right, so let's see. Before I start talking for no real reason. Got the part number right there from Furrion. Wish I could tell you it came with instructions, but it doesn't. It just comes with the warranty, so that's kind of useless to me. But what this controller does give you is a lot of options to it. So there's going to be the thermostat wiring for their thermostat right there. But if you had a home thermostat or other manufacturers like Coleman's analog thermostat, they have another set of wiring for you right there. So you don't even have to upgrade the thermostat to a Furrion thermostat. You could still do it off of a Coleman one. So most Dometic thermostats are going to be proprietary, so they're probably not going to work. Maybe the one Dometic analog one might work. It runs off of I guess 7.5 volts, but thermostat's just a switch anyway, so maybe it'll work. But otherwise, it's nice to know the Coleman RVP analog thermostats will work with this AC units just fine. Looks like it also has the freeze switch that'll go on the evaporator, so it knows if it's going to freeze. And this has a LED RGB controller on it, so I think we could plug in an RGB light at the Plenum itself and change the light colors with that button there. And other than that, we have the furnace wiring in and out, which we have already, and then power in and out. So we already have those wires up there. We just have to run 4 wires for the thermostat. But don't worry, the thermostat came with all the instructions that this didn't come with. So put that there where it's safe. Very safe. Now really the next step is going to be to install the control box. The upper unit's going to just plug into it right there. We have to hook the 110 up to it, the thermostat wiring, and then the power, furnace, and ground wiring. It's all labeled right here. It's pretty straightforward. The thermostat wiring, not really, because I haven't decided what color is going to be which, but I just have to match up whatever colors I want right here. That'll match up to the thermostat over to the wiring that I installed over there. I'll be using these Wago Wago connectors, which I love so much. Just lift up on the arm right there, feed it through, pop the arm down, and now it's connected. It'll work on solid core wiring too. They're rated for 30 amps, and this is a 20 amp circuit, so we're good. But I'll still put some tape on there because I don't trust anything ever. Now the freeze switch, it's just going to fit around the coils that are up there. Push it in, it'll snap onto those coils or the tubes that are in there. But the wiring I came up with is just arbitrary. So green to green, red to yellow. It doesn't really matter as long as the colors over here match. And of course, I've already wired up the thermostat because it's best practice to test to make sure it works. I don't want to put everything back together and find out I have to tear everything apart again. So let me go ahead and fire this up. Alright, I got power there. Go to the thermostat here. Push and hold it, so I want dry, auto. Cool. I want it to be, I don't know, 70 degrees in here. Feels good. This cold air is going to come out right here. It's already starting to get cool. It's pretty quiet. I heard the compressor turn on. Of course, that's where the air is going to be drawn up in through. Now I know I do have a mess here. I will clean that up. But before we do that, I know everybody's first question is going to be, how many amps is it drawing? Now this is a 15.5K BTU AC, so it's a little bit bigger than your normal AC units. But I got it right there on the neutral coming out. It says 16.2, so that's all total with the fan and compressor. And blue should be the compressor. We're at 15.3. It's already quite cool in here, so it's pretty nice. I can't deny that. It was getting really quite nasty in here. So let me clean up my mess, but we'll get this put back together, and then the last thing I'll do is put the wall back together. So we got that cleaned up a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn it off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and push and hold it down. Turns it off. All we really have left to do is secure the wiring, put the plenum intake on, and put this wall back together. Alright, so with that done, now it's just time to put this thing on. So I do like this one. This one's pretty slick looking. It still has a quick cool feature, so you could open these up and just cool off the bedroom. On some of these, it'll have the deluxe feature, so that light button on the thermostat would actually turn on a little LED light back here. But that's not an option I went for on this one. It's labeled that way front, so you can't get that part wrong. That's gonna go right in that opening anyways. So you have to pop out this air filter right there. Of course, you can wash this and put it back in place. Of course, we still have the 4 screws left over. Put that forward. I can kind of see the holes right there. Now, I did seriously consider the LED lights. I thought it was cool. But at the time, I was trying to save what I thought was going to be time. But the client didn't want it. But the good news is, the LED controller is still in there. And with that thermostat, you can control it. Again, that way front. Hooks right there. Hook them on there. Snap it in place. Yeah, I think that's a pretty slick looking installation. Like I said, you can still open up those. Those are little doors. And they're adjustable, so you can keep them at different positions. And then it's easy to get access to those. I do like that. It's a good thing I'm using Wago connectors, because I can just Disconnect these, very simple. I don't have to worry about a temporary connection. I don't have to worry about recrimping. So really the last thing I have to do is put the panel back on. I need to drill a hole. Seems to me like right about here. It's about a useful spot. Drill a hole right here. Let's go ahead and feed some wires through right here. Alright, and then the panel's gonna fit behind right there. But I just have to staple it in. Now, I will give everybody a favor and let you know these are what the industry uses. AS16 staples. These are not 1/4 inch crown staples. These are wire staples. I use a Senko staple gun. I'll try to put a link to it in the description right here, because this is an incredibly useful staple gun if you're going to be rebuilding RVs or working on your own RV, because it's basically what holds most RVs together. So staples. And yes, I am still using the greatest RV in the world as an air compressor. You know, if it works, it works. All right, now I just put the thermostat in. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it on again. Fan, dry, auto. I put it in cool mode, set the temperature. There, what kicked in. So it's installed. We got pretty good airflow coming out all the way up here. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. So that works out pretty well. Good airflow there. Good airflow there. Never mind the styrofoam, it's extra. So there it was. I just replaced the roof AC. It was a Carrier RV roof AC. Like I said, those are pretty good AC units. Once they break, it is unfortunately time to replace them. We put a Furrion 15.5 RV roof AC in its place, and we did have to change out the controller, add a thermostat, do the plenum, and make sure everything was secured and ready to accept the new AC. But overall, not an impossible job. We didn't have to go with the Furrion. I've been pretty pleased with the way I've been pretty pleased with their reliability and their performances. I've yet to actually have to fix one, knock on wood. I also think they look really good. But hopefully that helps somebody out there. I'll try to put everything in the description down below of what I used. It's a big list, but it's a lot more work than I planned on it being. And it's hot. You guys enjoy yourself. And because we already did the Atwood one, and because I've already showed you guys an Atwood one, we're going to try a different one. And because I've already installed an if it was a Coleman or an RV, wall thermostat for single use or single zone. Wonderful. All right, so with that we're out. Okay, so but the truck bed already gets me pretty well. The truck bed already gets me up in the high. The controller, there's our part number. No, that's not the part number. Right here's going to be. So for the controller, so that part's going to be pretty straightforward, and then we'll hopefully check back in. So there it was. We just replaced a carrier